do a little cleanup around the sawmill. Just figured I'd show you guys what's going on and mention, you know, this is part of it. You know, these little portable sawmills don't clean up after themselves, and so, you know, using it now for several months, kind of off and on, keeps breaking all the time. I wasn't putting a whole lot of effort into organization, and it's hard to get it organized because, of course, it's manual, and so I feel like I'm just lugging everything around, and I feel like there's no way out of it to not touch things 2 or 3 times. But what I've finally done, I had a whole bunch of scrap here. It wasn't really scrap, it was stuff that I thought was good. These 4x4s, stuff that I sawed out when I first started practicing. But of course they got big old dog legs in them because my blade was messing up, whatever. So I don't have an immediate use for them, and I can make more if I need them. So I went ahead and threw these here down on top of these slabs to make basically just a bunk system. So I've got 2 rails here for a bunk, and I can make this good wood or scrap. Probably what I'd like to do is make it both. So I'll throw the scrap further out and then the good wood right here on the inside. I'd like to leave the other side mostly open so that I can, of course, get in there with the tractor and set a log on. But I went ahead and set bunks on the other side too, not to stack logs on, but to be able to stack wood on. So when I go to roll a log on here, I can have a stack of good wood or scrap, either one, here, and be able to reach over the top of it with the forks to roll a log on. So I haven't really totally decided. I always load from this side, so I'll plan to try to put most of my wood on the other side. This will just be kind of a backup. But what I'd like to be able to do is not have to be throwing scrap or good wood directly on the forks as I'm sawing. Yes, that means I touch it less, but that means I also have to go unload it between every single log. I could run around with scrap on there and still pick up logs on the tips if I wanted to, I guess. But anyway, I'm trying to get it to where I have kind of a bunk system so I can get a pile of good wood, a pile of scrap, and then just be able to slide the forks under it and pick it up. So that's that. The other thing is I'm cleaning up my sawdust pile here. So this is everything that's piled up since original. This right through here that I left is packed pretty hard for me walking back and forth across it, and that's what I want. I want to keep this because otherwise there's a little kind of mud hole right here. So I want to leave this in here as a base layer. Ideally, I guess I could saw out some like 2x12s and actually build a walkway, and then if the sawdust piles up on that, that's okay because it'll shovel up easier. But I got a whole bucket full here already. If I really scraped it down to dirt, I could probably get another bucket full. But this stuff, you know, it's good, very fine sawdust, maybe almost too fine. A lot of people say you shouldn't use this for animal bedding because it has so much fines in it that it'll can cause respiratory issues. So I'm not quite sure yet. I'm gonna put it over by the goat pen for now. If nothing else, we'll just throw it in their pen as a low spot, not necessarily their bedding, but we'll throw it in a wet spot in their pen, let them poop and pee all over it because of course it's pure carbon. So we'll let them mess it up with some good nitrogen and you know, make some soil that way. Oh, but anyway, like I said, I just wanted to kind of mention what's going on. There's still more work to do. I'm sitting here trying to think on a way that I could build like a sawdust bunk, you know, because you look here, if I take the blade all the way down there, basically that's all the way down, the dust chute still rides about 1 foot off the ground. So I could in theory build a little box to put under it, but it's right where I walk, so I'd have to be walking like right up against the saw to not be stepping in the sawdust bunk. So I don't know that I'll build that for now. It's just something I'm thinking on. For right now, I'll probably just stick with shoveling it up every couple of loads. I wanted to put it so I could drive the tractor right in here beside it and just push it out, but if I do, that pushes my scrap bunk way out to the side. So yeah, that's that for now. I don't know, I guess I could rearrange and I could have my sawdust here, put my scrap and good wood on the other side, and then load from this side if I wanted to. I would just have to take these stakes that are actually the lockdown pegs. I'd have to slide them over, stand them up to load the log, and then roll the log back over to this side. That's why I load from the other side right now, is because it rolls the log to this side, and that's where it needs to be anyway. So yeah, I know, rambling again, but mostly just want to give you guys a little update on the sawmill. It is working. I've been sawing out quite a bit. And I haven't showed you yet, but again, I've been focused on working and not videoing. I'll take you over and at least just show you what I've sawed out now that I finally got it fixed. So there's my little pile of sawdust. It really isn't much. When I say a bucket full, that bucket's not very big. I just threw it in this hole here. There's a low spot here. Figure what the heck, throw it in there. If we use it, we use it. If not, it fills the low spot. But here's my lumber I've been sawing out. So a little mix mash of everything. That's older stuff that I sawed out originally before I started having all the, you know, everything breaking. And, you know, I just mentioned it's not a Timberking problem, I don't believe. It's just an old mill problem. You know, I bought it used. I knew I'd have to fix stuff. So I don't want you guys thinking I'm cussing that mill. It's not, I'm not. But here's all the stuff I've sawed out here lately. Some 2x6s, some 7-foot 2x4s, some 9-foot 2x4s, and they're the odd increment just because that's what I cut the logs to. Lets me saw a little bit off each end and still have, you know, a nominal 6-foot or 6 foot's not all that common, but just a round number, not an odd number. It just gave me something to cut the logs to. These are 13 foot, so I can cut them down to 12s. I think that's all 9-foot stock. And this is some of the older stuff. See, again, these are those original 2x4s that I cut before I realized what was wrong. I thought it was just me or blade problems, but you look down them, they're real wavy on that top side. So I think I can cut them down into shorter pieces, use them for blocking, whatever. That's why I didn't throw them away just yet. But I went ahead and sawed all this stuff. I just went ahead and sawed it nominal, 1.5 by 3.5. I know it's going to shrink a little bit. I don't think it's going to shrink that much. So I'm not too worried about it. Hopefully we get to nailing it together here pretty soon, because the floor frame over there is several months old and is begging for attention to have a little barn built on top of it. So anyway, here's what I've been working on. It's not that exciting, just cutting, you know, dimensional lumber. Oh, but also taking the time to clean up and organize and try to become more efficient with the mill.